Marshall Keene adjusted his watch to exactly 6 a.m. and stepped into the kitchen. The morning routine never changed. Coffee first black, no sugar. Check the weather app. Review his work schedule on the tablet while the coffee brewed. Lacey entered at 6:07, same as always, but her phone buzzed 3 times before she reached the counter. She glanced at the screen and turned it face down next to the cereal boxes. "Morning," she said, not looking at him. "Morning." Marshall poured his coffee and watched her over the rim. In 17 years of marriage, Lacey had never placed her phone face down. Ever. Lacey grabbed a granola bar and headed for the stairs. "I'll be late tonight. PDA meeting." Marshall nodded. He made a mental note to check the school calendar later. When the shower started upstairs, Marshall picked up Lacey's phone. Password protected. She'd never had a password before last month. "Dad." Lily appeared in the doorway, backpack over one shoulder. "Can you drive me to school?" "Mom said she's running late." "Of course." Marshall studied his daughter's face. At 17, Lily had inherited his ability to observe details others missed. "Everything okay?" "Yeah, just." Lily shrugged. "Mom's been weird lately. Always texting. Always busy." Marshall handed Lily the car keys. People change, usually not for the better. During the drive to school, Marshall noticed Lily watching him in the rearview mirror. "Dad, do you think Mom's happy?" The question caught him off guard, but Marshall's expression didn't change. "Why do you ask?" "She just seems somewhere else. Like she's thinking about something that makes her smile, but it's not us." Marshall pulled into the school drop-off line. "Focus on your art project. Let me worry about everything else." After Lily left, Marshall sat in the parking lot and opened his phone. He pulled up the school district website and checked the PDA calendar. No meeting scheduled for tonight. Marshall returned home at 5:30 p.m. to find Lily already back from art club. She stood at the kitchen window, looking puzzled. "Hey, kiddo. How was school?" "Fine." Lily turned from the window. "Dad, I saw something weird when I got home." Marshall set down his work bag. "What kind of weird?" "Mom was getting out a truck. Not our car. A big black truck with chrome on the grill and those really big tires." "Did you recognize the truck?" "No." "And when she saw me watching, she looked, I don't know, guilty? Like when I catch her eating ice cream for breakfast." Marshall walked to the window. Their quiet street showed nothing unusual now. "Where did the truck go?" "It left right after Mom got out. Didn't even wait for her to get to the door." Marshall filed the information away without comment. Lacey's car sat in the driveway where it always did. No sign she'd been anywhere else. "Dad." Lily's voice carried concern. "Is Mom having an affair?" The directness of the question didn't surprise him. Lily thought like he did straight lines, logical conclusions. "I don't know yet," Marshall said, "but I'm going to find out." After dinner, Lacey kissed his cheek and grabbed her purse. "See you later." Meeting should run until 10 or so. Marshall waited 15 minutes after she left, then opened his laptop. Their shared Google Calendar showed PDA meeting 7 to 10 p.m. in Lacey's color coding. But the school website still showed no scheduled meeting. That he opened a new browser window and accessed the neighborhood association directory. Every resident's vehicle registration appeared in the community database for emergency purposes. Marshall scrolled through the listings methodically to N.O. black trucks with the description Lily provided. He expanded his search to include city records, vehicle registrations, business licenses, contractor permits. The work took 2 hours, but Marshall's background in Air Force technical systems had taught him patience with data. At 9:47 p.m., his phone buzzed with a text from Lacey. "Running late." "Don't wait up." Marshall smiled without humor. She'd covered her tracks well, but not perfectly. The black truck existed, and so did its owner. He just needed more time to find them. When Lacey returned at 11:30, Marshall pretended to sleep. She slipped into bed without showering, something she'd done every night for 17 years, until recently, in the morning. Marshall found a receipt in Lacey's jeans pocket while gathering laundry. Gas station, 8:20 p.m. The station sat 12 miles in the opposite direction from the school. Thursday evening, Lily knocked on Marshall's home office door. "Dad, can I borrow the car? I need to pick up supplies from the 24-hour pharmacy for my art project." Marshall looked up from his computer. "What kind of supplies?" "Special pens and paper." The art store closes at 9, but the pharmacy carries the basic stuff I need. Sure. Marshall handed her the keys. Drive careful. Text when you get there. Always do. Lily left at 8:15 p.m. Marshall returned to his research, tracking down leads on black trucks registered in the county. At 8:32, his phone rang. Is this Marshall Keene? Yes. This is Officer Rodriguez with Asheville PD. Your daughter has been in a serious accident. She's being transported to Mission Hospital. The words hit Marshall like physical force, but his voice remained steady. How serious? Single vehicle collision. She's unconscious but breathing. Can you meet us at the hospital? On my way. Marshall grabbed his keys and tried calling Lacey. No answer. He tried again while driving. Still nothing. At the hospital. Officer Rodriguez met him at the emergency entrance. Mr. Keene, your daughter's car left the road at high speed and went into a drainage ditch. The vehicle flipped twice. Mechanical failure. We don't think so. The skid marks suggest she swerved hard to avoid something, then overcorrected. Marshall's phone finally connected to Lacey's number. Music blared in the background loud enough that he could hear it clearly. Marshall? What's wrong now? It's Lily. She's hurt. Car accident. I need you at Mission Hospital right now. Lacey laughed a sound that made Marshall's blood freeze. Don't guilt trip me, Marshall. I'm at a party. I'm having fun for once. Lacey, she's in intensive care. The line went dead. Marshall stared at his phone for 10 seconds, then put it away. He walked into the hospital with the same controlled expression he'd worn during Air Force briefings when missions went wrong. Lily lay unconscious in the ICU, connected to monitors that beeped steadily. Her left arm was in a cast, and bandages covered cuts on her face, but she was breathing on her own. Marshall sat beside her bed and waited. At 11:20 p.m., the same officer who'd called him appeared in the doorway with a doctor. Mr. Keene? This is Dr. Patterson. We need to talk. They stepped into the hallway. Dr. Patterson looked grim. Two things. First, your daughter should make a full recovery. The injuries look worse than they are. And second, your wife was brought in an hour ago. Different injuries, blunt force trauma to her right side, consistent with a side impact collision. She was found less than a mile from your daughter's accident scene. Marshall processed this information without visible reaction. She was unconscious? Yes, but here's what concerns us. Dr. Patterson glanced at Officer Rodriguez. The timing and locations don't make sense. Both vehicles were in motion at the same time. Your wife's injuries suggest she was a passenger, not a driver. What are you saying? Officer Rodriguez stepped forward. We think someone else was driving the vehicle your wife was in. Someone who left the scene before we arrived. It's not a coincidence, Mr. Keene, Dr. Patterson added. Two members of your family in separate accidents within minutes of each other? That doesn't happen by chance. Marshall thanked them and returned to Lily's room. His daughter's eyes were open now, unfocused but aware. Dad, I'm here. What happened? Car accident. You're going to be fine. Lily tried to sit up, winced, and settled back. I remember headlights. Really bright ones, right behind me. Then they got closer, and I thought they were going to hit me, so I swerved. Marshall leaned forward. What kind of headlights? High up, like a truck or SUV. Lily's voice grew stronger. Dad, I think someone was following me. Marshall squeezed her hand gently. Get some rest. We'll figure this out. But Marshall had already figured it out. The black truck Lily had seen. Lacey's lies about her whereabouts. The timing of both accidents. Someone had tried to kill him tonight. They'd used his own car as bait, expecting him to be driving. Instead, they nearly killed his daughter. Marshall's expression never changed. But inside, something cold and permanent shifted into place. Marshall spent the next morning at the hospital while Lily underwent additional tests. When the doctors confirmed she'd be released by evening, he drove to the first gas station near the accident scene. I need to see your security footage from last night, he told the manager. Sorry, but that's for police only. Marshall pulled out his military ID and his business card from the defense contractor where he worked. I designed security systems for the government. My daughter was nearly killed last night, and I think your cameras caught something important. The manager looked at the credentials and nodded. Come on back. The footage showed Lacey's sedan at 8:18 p.m., followed 30 seconds later by a black pickup truck. Marshall had the manager freeze the frame and zoom in. License plate, partially visible. Enough to run a search. Can you give me a copy of this? I'll burn you a disc. At the second gas station, Marshall found footage of the same black truck at 8:45 p.m. after both accidents. A man he didn't recognize climbed out to pump gas. The timestamp on Lacey getting into the passenger side was clear, 8:47 p.m. Marshall memorized the man's face and build. About 6 feet, brown hair, wearing work clothes. The truck had contractor plates. Back home, Marshall used his work computer to access vehicle registration databases. The partial license plate gave him 3 possibilities. 2 belonged to landscaping companies with different truck models. The third belonged to Chase Dillard. Marshall recognized the name immediately. Chase had bid against Marshall's company for a county engineering project 3 years ago. When Marshall's team won the contract, Chase had accused him of using inside connections and filed a complaint that went nowhere. Chase Dillard, building contractor, history of resentment, owner of a black pickup truck. Marshall printed Chase's business license, vehicle registration, and contractor permits. Then he cross-referenced Chase's known job sites with Lacey's recent locations based on her credit card usage, .17 matches in the past 2 months. Lacey woke up in the hospital room next to Lily's, claiming she couldn't remember anything about the previous night. The doctor says I have a concussion, she told Marshall. Everything after dinner is just blank. Marshall sat in the visitor's chair and watched her carefully. What's the last thing you remember? Leaving for the PDA meeting. Then I woke up here. Lacey touched the bandage on her forehead. Did you find out what happened? The police think someone was following Lily. Her accident wasn't random. Lacey's eyes widened with what looked like genuine shock. Following her? Why would anyone follow Lily? Maybe they weren't following her. Maybe they were expecting someone else to be driving. What do you mean? Marshall leaned forward slightly. I mean, maybe someone wanted to hurt me, and Lily got in the way. Lacey stared at him for several seconds. That's crazy, Marshall. Who would want to hurt you? I don't know yet. Marshall stood up, but I'm going to find out. He left without mentioning the gas station footage or Chase Dillard. If Lacey was involved, he wanted her to think she was safe. That afternoon, while Lacey and Lily rested, Marshall drove to Chase's business address. Dillard Construction operated out of a small office behind a lumber yard. The black pickup sat in the parking lot, front bumper dented. Marshall took photos from across the street, then called his Aunt Gloria. I need to see you tonight. It's important. Come on by. I'll make coffee. Before visiting Gloria, Marshall stopped at home and accessed their joint bank accounts online. Everything looked normal at first, the usual deposits, bills, and automatic payments. Then he checked their insurance policies. 2 weeks ago, Lacey had requested an update to their life insurance coverage. The new policy included a clause for accidental death that would pay double benefits. More importantly, it included coverage for Lily as well, something their previous policy hadn't covered. Marshall printed the documents and kept digging. 3 weeks ago, Lacey had withdrawn $20,000 in cash from their savings account. The bank record showed she'd made the withdrawal in person, using only her ID. Marshall tracked the withdrawal date against their calendar. The same day, Lacey had claimed to be visiting her sister in Charlotte, a trip Marshall now realized he'd never verified. He called the bank's customer service line. I need to verify a large cash withdrawal from our account. Can you tell me if there were any special instructions or recipient information? I'm sorry, Mr. Keene, but I can only discuss account details with both account holders present. What if I came in with proper identification? We need your wife present as well, or a notarized power of attorney. Marshall thanked them and hung up. Then he called his business partner, who owed him a favor and had connections at several banks. I need you to check something for me. Quietly. 2 hours later, his partner called back. That $20,000 was converted to a cashier's check, made out to Chase Dillard. Marshall had found the money trail. Lacey had paid Chase $20,000 3 weeks ago, then updated their life insurance for accidental death. 1 week later, Chase had tried to kill him using Lily as bait. Gloria's cabin sat 15 miles outside Asheville, surrounded by 50 acres of mountain forest. She'd bought the land after retiring from the Army and built the house herself. When Marshall arrived, Gloria was cleaning a rifle on her kitchen table. "You look like someone who needs to shoot something," she said without looking up. "Maybe." Marshall sat down and told her everything. The black truck, the accidents, Chase Dillard, the insurance policy, and the $20,000. Gloria finished cleaning the rifle and set it aside. "So your wife paid a man to kill you, and your daughter nearly died instead. That's what the evidence shows. What do you want to do about it?" Marshall met her eyes. Gloria had raised him from age 12 to 17 after his father died. She'd taught him discipline, self-reliance, and the difference between justice and law. "I want to end it." "In what exactly?" "The threat to my daughter. The lies. All of it." Gloria poured 2 cups of coffee and sat down across from him. "You could call the police. Present the evidence. And watch Lacey claim she was coerced. Watch Chase's lawyer argue circumstantial evidence. Watch them both get plea deals while my daughter suffers nightmares for the rest of her life. So you want to handle it yourself. I want to make sure they can never hurt Lily again. Ever." Gloria nodded slowly. "Your father would have done the same thing. But he would have been smart about it." "What do you mean?" "Don't just break them, Marshall. Destroy them completely. Make them destroy each other." Marshall listened as Gloria explained her strategy. It was elegant, thorough, and utterly without mercy. "You'll need equipment," she said finally, "and you'll need to be patient. I have both." Instead of going to the police, Marshall went shopping. He bought a GPS tracking device from an electronics store, a digital voice recorder, and a small camera designed for wildlife monitoring. That night, while Chase's truck sat in his driveway, Marshall attached the GPS tracker to the undercarriage. The device would transmit location data to his phone every 30 minutes. Over the next week, Marshall followed Chase's patterns remotely. Morning job sites, afternoon supply runs, evening stops at bars around town. But twice, Chase had driven to a location that matched Lacey's credit card usage, a coffee shop called Mountain Grounds. Marshall set up surveillance at the coffee shop and confirmed what he suspected. Chase and Lacey met there every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, sitting in a corner booth where they could see anyone approaching. From his car across the street, Marshall photographed them together. Their body language told the story intimate conversation, touching hands across the table, Lacey laughing at things Chase said. But Marshall needed more than photographs that he used his technical background to intercept their text messages. Both Chase and Lacey used older model phones with basic encryption that Marshall's military-grade software could crack. The messages confirmed everything. "Chase, he's getting suspicious. Maybe we should wait." "Lacey, no. I can't live like this anymore. Just do it like we planned." "Chase, what if something goes wrong?" "Lacey, nothing will go wrong. He takes the same route home every night." "Lacey, just make it look like an accident. Insurance will pay double for accidental death." "Chase, and then we can be together." "Lacey, yes." Finally, the final message was time-stamped 2 hours before Lily's accident. Marshall created an anonymous email account and sent a single message to Chase's business email. "I know what you did Thursday night. Meet me at the old quarry on Highway 9 at midnight." Or, "I released the security footage to the police." Chase responded within an hour. "Who is this?" Marshall didn't reply. At 11:45 p.m., Marshall parked behind trees near the quarry and activated his recording equipment. Chase arrived exactly at midnight, truck headlights cutting through the darkness. Chase climbed out and called into the empty space. "Hello? I'm here like you said." Marshall stepped out from behind his car, phone recording. "Hello, Chase." Chase spun around, recognizing the voice. "Marshall? What the hell? We need to talk about Thursday night." "I don't know what you're talking about." Marshall held up his phone, playing back one of Chase's text messages to Lacey. "Just make it look like an accident." Chase's face went white. "Where did you get that?" "Your phone security is garbage. Just like your plan." Chase looked around the empty quarry as if expecting help to arrive. "Look, Marshall, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly. You and my wife planned to kill me. Instead, you nearly killed my daughter. That wasn't supposed to happen." Chase's voice cracked. "Lacey said you always drove that route on Thursday nights. She said you'd be alone, but I wasn't driving. Lily was. We didn't know. When I saw it was her in the car, I tried to back off, but she swerved and you left her there to die." Chase ran his hands through his hair. We panicked. Lacey was hurt, and I had to get her out of there before the police came. What? Marshall stepped closer. Why did you want me dead? It wasn't my idea. Chase's voice rose to a shout. It was all Lacey. She said you were cold, that you didn't love her anymore. She said we could be together if you were gone, and the insurance money would let us start over somewhere else. $20,000 wasn't enough. Chase stared at him. How do you? I know about the payment. I know about the insurance policy. I know about every meeting you've had for the past 2 months. Jesus, Marshall, you're scaring me. Good. Marshall turned off the recording. You should be scared. What do you want? I want you to stay away from my family. I want you to break contact with Lacey. And I want you to confess everything you just told me. And if I don't, Marshall smiled the same expression he'd worn during Air Force interrogations. Then I release all the evidence to the police, and you spend the next 20 years in prison. Chase stood silent for a long moment. What about Lacey? Let me worry about Lacey. Marshall drove home with Chase's full confession recorded on his phone. But he wasn't finished. The plan Gloria had suggested required one more step. The next morning, Marshall sent Chase's recorded confession to Lacey's phone, along with a single message. This is what your partner says about you. Listen carefully. In the recording, Chase's voice was clear. It was all Lacey. She said you were cold, that you didn't love her anymore. She said we could be together if you were gone. Marshall waited. At 2:30 p.m., Lacey called him from her sister's house in Charlotte, where she'd driven immediately after receiving the recording. Marshall, we need to talk. About what? I know you have evidence. I know you know about Chase. Do you? I want to explain everything. It's not what you think. Marshall let silence fill the phone line. I made mistakes, Lacey continued. But I never wanted anyone to get hurt. Especially not Lily. Then why did you try to kill me? Another long pause. I wasn't thinking clearly. Chase convinced me that you didn't love me anymore, that we could have a better life together. I was stupid and selfish, but I never meant for Lily to get involved. Where are you now? Charlotte. I'm staying with my sister until... Until what? Until I figure out how to fix this. Marshall checked the GPS tracking on Chase's truck. It showed Chase driving south toward the Georgia state line. Lacey, there's something you should know. Chase is running. He left town this morning with a truck full of his belongings. Silence. He's abandoning you, Marshall continued. Just like he abandoned you at the accident scene. No, that's not. He wouldn't leave me. Check his social media. Check his business website. He's shutting everything down. Marshall had done no such checking, but he knew panic when he heard it. I have to go, Lacey said. Where? I need to find him. I need to make sure he doesn't. The line went dead. Marshall immediately called the FBI field office in Asheville. I need to report attempted murder and insurance fraud. The suspects are fleeing across state lines. By evening, federal agents had arrested Lacey at a bus station in Charlotte. She'd been carrying a fake passport and $25,000 in cash money she'd withdrawn from her sister's account using forged documents. Chase was arrested 12 hours later at a motel in Jacksonville, Florida. The GPS tracker Marshall had planted led police directly to him. Both arrests made the local news, along with details about the insurance fraud scheme and the attempt on Marshall's life. The trial took place 6 months later in Asheville County Superior Court. Marshall wore his dress uniform from his Air Force days and testified with the same precision he'd once used to brief commanding officers. On the night of the incident, I received a call at 8:32 p.m. informing me that my daughter had been injured in a car accident. Marshall told the prosecutor. When I tried to contact my wife, she initially refused to come to the hospital. What was her exact response? She said, and I quote, "Don't guilt-trip me, Marshall. I'm at a party. I'm having fun for once." The jury members looked at Lacey with visible disgust. She sat at the defense table, much thinner than before, avoiding eye contact with everyone that Lacey's lawyer tried to paint her as a victim of Chase's manipulation. Mrs. Keene was psychologically coerced by Mr. Dillard, the defense attorney argued. She was a vulnerable woman in an unhappy marriage, preyed upon by a calculating individual who convinced her to participate in activities she never would have considered on her own. The prosecutor countered with evidence. Bank records showing Lacey had initiated the $20,000 payment to Chase. insurance documents with Lacey's signature updating the policies, phone records proving she'd been the one to contact Chase first, 3 months before the attempted murder. This was not a crime of passion, the prosecutor told the jury. This was a calculated, premeditated attempt to murder Mr. Keene for financial gain. The defendant spent months planning her husband's death, and when their plan went wrong, they left a 17-year-old girl to die in a car wreck. Chase's trial had taken place a month earlier. He'd pled guilty to attempted murder and received 22 years in federal prison. His testimony, delivered via video link, destroyed any remaining sympathy for Lacey. She told me exactly when Marshall would be driving home, Chase said on the recording. She said he took the same route every Thursday night, and he'd be alone. When I told her I was having second thoughts, she said it was too late to back out because she'd already updated the insurance. Did Mrs. Keene express any concern about the welfare of her husband? No. She said he was cold and didn't deserve her. She said once he was gone, we could take the insurance money and start over somewhere warm. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. They found Lacey guilty on all counts: conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, and accessory to attempted murder. The judge sentenced her to 18 years in federal prison with no possibility of parole for 12 years. As the bailiff led Lacey away in handcuffs, she turned to look at Marshall one last time. Her expression held a mixture of pleading and defiance. Marshall watched her go without any visible emotion. Lily had returned to school 3 weeks after the accident, walking with a slight limp that doctors said would disappear completely with physical therapy. Her grades remained perfect, and her art had taken on a more serious, complex quality that impressed her teachers. One evening in spring, while Marshall grilled dinner on the back patio, Lily joined him outside. "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Always." "Do you hate her?" Marshall didn't need to ask who she meant. "What do you think?" "I think you're too smart to waste energy on hate." Lily sat down in a patio chair. "But I also think you're never going to forgive her." "You're right on both counts." "Why not?" "Forgiveness is supposed to be healthy or whatever." Marshall flipped the burgers and considered his answer. "Forgiveness is for people who make mistakes. What your mother did wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. She chose to value money over your life. But she's still my mom. That's biology. It doesn't change what she did." Lily was quiet for several minutes. "I keep thinking about that night, about swerving to avoid the headlights. Sometimes I dream about it. Do the dreams scare you?" "Not anymore. In the dreams, I don't swerve. I slam on the brakes and let them hit me head on. Then I get out and ask them why they wanted to hurt you." Marshall looked at his daughter with something approaching pride. "What do they say in the dream?" "They say they're sorry. And I tell them sorry doesn't fix anything." "Smart girl. I learned it from you." Marshall sold their house in Asheville and bought property 10 miles from Gloria's cabin. The new house was smaller, but situated on 20 acres of mountain forest with a clear view of the valley below. Using his savings and the insurance settlement from the car accident, Marshall built a small art studio behind the main house. It had skylights, professional easels, and enough space for Lily to work on large-scale paintings. "It's perfect, Dad," Lily said on the day they finished construction. "Thank you. You earned it." Lily had been accepted to 3 art colleges with full scholarships. She'd chosen the one closest to home, but Marshall suspected that had more to do with wanting to watch over him than any limitation of the program. One Saturday morning in late summer, Marshall was chopping firewood when the mail carrier delivered a thick envelope addressed to him. The return address showed the Federal Women's Correctional Facility where Lacey was serving her sentence. Marshall carried the envelope inside and set it on the kitchen counter. He stared at it for several minutes, then picked up the entire envelope and walked to the fireplace. He lit a match and held it to one corner of the envelope. The paper caught quickly, flames consuming whatever message Lacey had tried to send him. Marshall watched it burn completely, then swept the ashes into the fireplace and went back to chopping wood. 2 years later, Marshall stood in the art gallery at Lily's college, watching people admire her paintings. The exhibition was titled Truth in Fragments and featured her work from the past year. The largest painting showed a mountain landscape reflected in broken glass. Each fragment revealed a different perspective of the same scene, some beautiful, some distorted, some sharp enough to cut. It's about how we see truth, Lily explained to a visitor. How the same reality can look completely different depending on which piece you're looking through. Marshall studied the painting from different angles. In some fragments, the mountains looked peaceful and welcoming. In others, they appeared dark and threatening. But in every piece, the truth of the landscape remained constant that a woman approached him, introducing herself as an art professor from another college. "Your daughter has remarkable talent," she said, "an unusual emotional maturity for someone her age. She's been through things that aged her quickly. I can see that in her work. There's a quality of resolution in her paintings, like she's found peace with difficult truths." Marshall nodded. "She has. And you? Have you found peace as well?" Marshall looked around the gallery at the people appreciating his daughter's work. Lily stood near her painting, explaining her technique to a small group of students. Her limp was completely gone now, and she moved with confidence and grace. "I found something better than peace," Marshall said. "I found clarity." The professor looked puzzled, but Marshall didn't elaborate. He walked over to Lily and put his arm around her shoulders. "I'm proud of you," he said quietly. "Thanks, Dad, for everything." Marshall smiled, not warmly, but with complete satisfaction. He hadn't gotten justice through the legal system. He'd built it himself, piece by careful piece, until the truth was clear to everyone. Justice wasn't about forgiveness or healing. It was about consequences. It was about making sure that the people who chose to hurt his family could never do it again. The gallery lights dimmed slightly as evening approached, but the paintings remained beautifully illuminated. Truth in fragments, just as Lily had painted it. Marshall had kept every fragment that mattered.